called Misadventures of a Pastor's Kid, or Misadventures of a PK. And I grew up a pastor's kid. My sister obviously is a pastor's kid. Both my parents are ordained ministers. They're retired now, living the dream out somewhere in Texas. And now my sister is a worship pastor, and her husband is a local pastor in Southeast Texas. Now, I wanted to bring this up a little bit, just so you have a little bit of backstory. Now, I also studied ministry. I went to Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry in Redding, California. Was there for 3 years. I was a minister for 3 years myself, but I'm not going to talk about those stories. They might come up, in other contexts. But I just wanted to talk specifically about being a pastor's kid and what it meant to me in my life. And I hope that if you're a pastor's kid, let me know. I would love to know what you think about my stories and where it went. You see, a lot of pastors' kids, they go through a lot, and I know you're going to roll your eyes that everyone goes through a lot, and it's true, but I'm saying pastors' kids go through something that's a little bit more unique because of who your parents are. They're in a place of spiritual authority, at least to the people in front of you, and even to total strangers when you tell them that they're pastors. Now, my parents were Protestant ministers. They, like I said, they were fully ordained. So it was really weird sometimes when my parents would tell them that they were pastors and people would start acting like it was confessional time, because in Protestant circles we don't do that. It's really funny. Maybe some Protestant denominations do, but certainly not the Assemblies of God, which was the denomination that I grew up in. So the first story I want to tell was the soccer story. Now, this is something I've made clear on my YouTube channel and on my website and on various interviews that I've done. I hate soccer. I think it is a fake sport made up, and it's made for people who aren't athletic enough to do other sports, kind of like golf is. And, I know I'm going to get all these angry comments. Oh, blah, 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 soccer! No, and quite frankly, I have a personal reason for this. I admit it's very anecdotal. The fact is, I'm terrible at it, so I hate it. Same with golf. I'm terrible at golf, so I hate it. And I will tell anyone who listens how much I hate soccer. And here is why. I was also homeschooled. So on top of being a PK, I was also homeschooled. Now, I, again, got a lot of flack for this, but my parents are very learned people. Obviously, they're ordained ministers. My mom studied really hard to get her ordination. My dad has his undergraduate in accounting, and then he has a master's in theology. So I grew up with two very biblically centric parents who made sure I didn't just learn the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, the 3 R's. Anyway, they made sure that I knew, U.S. history, that I was competent. And in fact, when I went into college, I did this what they call the compass test, and it is basically to advise you if you can CLEP out of classes. What a CLEP is, it basically means you can take it and take a specific test, but it's only for certain classes, so you can't do it for all of them. And I ended up deciding not to CLEP, but that's another story. Back to the soccer. So I played baseball in a little sort of city league. It had a lot of homeschool orgs attached to it. My org was called the Arlington Association of Home Educators. I don't know if they're still up or if they're defunct. I actually don't know what's going on with them, but I still keep in contact with some of those high school buddies. And originally, I was on the baseball team, and I was really good at baseball. I was a shortstop, sometimes a third baseman. They put me on first once, but I really screwed up, and I think I cost us a game, so they moved me back to third, where I shined. I was really good at being a third baseman and a shortstop. Sometimes we would play co-ed, so it was more like softball, and I would be the rover sometimes, what they call the rover, which is it's a position further back. And my senior year of high school, I was ready to go out with a bang in this baseball league, in this little city league. And when I went to sign up, there was one of the other homeschool moms approached me, because I did martial arts. I studied karate, kung fu, taekwondo, judo, and and Muay Thai, but not a whole lot, just enough so I can say that I studied it. Not very good at Muay Thai at all. But this homeschool mom approached me knowing this and said, "Hey, Jacob, would you join our soccer league? We're short a few people, and I'm worried that they won't accept our team um, if we're short a few players." And I said, "Well, no, no, no. I'm going to re-sign for baseball. Baseball is what I've got going on. It's my jam, you know." And she goes, "Yeah, but you do karate, so you got to be good at kicking, right?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm good at combat kicking, I guess, or self-defense kicking." And she was like, "Come on, we really need you, please, please, please." And so I was like, "Okay, fine." So I signed up, and you know, when you, like I said, when you're a PK, you kind of have a spotlight on you because your parents are people's spiritual authority, and you're supposed to be good at everything. Spoiler alert, found out I am, as I mentioned earlier, I am terrible at soccer. They made me, I think they're called guards, so I was more toward the back of the field, and we did awful. Now remember, this is a city league, so virtually all teams go to the playoffs. It's kind of a joke, right? All the city team leagues, you know, they all get together and they do a tournament, and it's not really like even like what you would consider a championship thing. So pretty much every team gets to go to the playoffs for this city or county or whatever it's a part of. Well, my team was so terrible that we didn't get in the playoffs. We won one game the whole season. Now here's the funny part about it. So I was, like I said, I was a guard. We had one guy who I think they're called forwards, and he was really good. He was the best player on any team. If there was a score to be had, he would always get it every single time. Always, always. And one of my fellow guardsmen, he was a kid, and he was partially deaf. He had to have hearing aids, so he wanted to be toward the back. He wanted to be the goalie, but but when he signed up, they had already, I guess, what do you call it, auditioned a goalie, and they had picked him. So he ended up being a guard, which he didn't. He was really uncomfortable doing. This kid could kick, though. Like one time, the ball came to him, and he kicked it so hard it flew across the field and actually scored on the other team from way on the back. I mean, this kid could kick, but he didn't want to be a forward. They kept trying to get him to be a forward, but he was worried because he was worried about his earpiece getting broken, which is understandable, right? So I'm doing this. I'm playing soccer where our team is horrible. We're like embarrassing. It was so bad because my parents growing up, they never missed any of my games. They always made an effort to come to my baseball games or to my karate tournaments or whatever I was doing. They always made the effort. I think my whole life growing up until that point was my parents only missed one each missed one game. So it wasn't even, so I always had them there. They were really good about encouraging me because both of them are very athletic. And so I'm horrible. I was so bad. I told my mom and dad not to come. I said, "Don't come. I'm embarrassed. I'm bad at this sport. I wish I could switch back to baseball." But my dad, he's always one, you've got to live up to your commitment. So I committed to being in soccer, so I had to, so he wanted me to follow through with my commitment. So I'm playing soccer. Well, one day, our kid who was this forward who was our best kid, he was very arrogant because he was usually the only one who scored, and even though we were losing, he was always the one who would score. Well, he was sick one day. And we're like, "Oh, what are we going to do? We all think he's a jerk, but he's the best. You know, what do we do?" We won the game. We couldn't believe it. It wasn't close. It wasn't like we won by leaps and bounds. It was very close. I think we won by 1 point. So we couldn't believe it. We won. And we were like, "We won! We won one game! Oh my gosh!" Like, it was like we had won the championship just because we had been so terrible that season. But, you know, we were so excited. I think the coach even took us out to pizza and everything. Like, we were like so excited. And so the next game comes around. Well, here comes Mr. Sassafras, and he's all being arrogant. And he was talking smack to the rest of us. "Oh, I'm here to clean up your mess," and blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him and I said, "Listen, pal." I don't think I said, "Listen, pal." I think I said, "Hey, buddy, just keep in mind, Just keep in mind, when you weren't here, we won. His face went white. Like, he was already white. He was whiter than me, and he went white. And that was a humbling thing to say. And so we played the game, and any time that he got a little high on his horse, we would always be there to remind him, just remember, we don't need you. In fact, when you weren't here, we won. And it was just really a really funny, heartwarming experience for me being a PK and, being homeschooled, and I'm in this terrible team, and that was the one good thing that came out of my soccer experience. And so there's no lesson behind this story. I just wanted to share it because I thought it was funny. If you're a pastor kid and you had a funny experience where you were forced to do a sport that you were terrible at, I don't want to say forced because my dad didn't force me in the sense that he said, you must play soccer. It was because I had already said I would finish the season that he said you must follow through with your commitment, which is a good thing. You should follow through with your commitments, even if you're bad at it. So, not to mention they bought me soccer gear, so that was probably another reason. They had spent all this money on soccer gear, and because it's a small city league, so you have to pretty much get your own gear. The city doesn't provide it because they're too busy funding their politicians flying on their jets to baseball games and stuff. But instead, I got to play soccer. So like I said, there's no lesson behind the story. It's just one of my many, many adventures of being a pastor's kid and having the assumption that I'm good just because my parents are in a place of spiritual authority. So I just thought it was entertaining. I just wanted to share it for you. It's just for fun. If you like this video, please let me know because I'd love to share more stories, maybe some more personal ones, maybe some darker stories about being a pastor's kid. Just let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And like I said, if you're a pastor kid, please let me know. That's why I'm doing these, is I want other pastor kids to hear, life from someone who experienced similar things that they did. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment and tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to StudioJake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time, right here on Studio Jake.